Hello! So after disappearing for more than a year, I am back to make more videos that nobody necessarily asked for. So the last time I posted an update was in between my freshman and sophomore year of college, and now I am done with my junior year. So if that is any indication of how put together my life has been, then there you go. But even though I've been somewhat of a mess, I've been a fairly busy mess. So going all the way back to the summer after my freshman year, summer 2018, I moved off campus and then I spent a week visiting a friend in Puebla, Mexico. I went home and had a few days before I would leave again because I was studying photography abroad in Berlin, Germany for a month. I absolutely loved my time there, and then I came home for the second summer session for my summer break. Next up was sophomore year. So this started in fall 2018. This semester I was in Boston, I was involved in a lot of clubs, and I was applying for my first co-op. I really had thought that I wanted a co-op outside of Boston, but I ended up really falling in love with one that was in Boston, so I ended up accepting that. This leads us to spring semester 2019. So in January I was still living on campus in Boston, and I was still involved in a lot of my clubs, but I wasn't taking classes because I was on co-op. So I had a full-time 40 hours per week co-op that lasted from January to June, and I was mostly doing basic web development and quality assurance testing. After co-op in July 2019, it was time to get back to class. So I spent the second summer term studying abroad, this time taking a cinema class and a writing class in Seoul, South Korea. Directly from Seoul, I flew to Sydney, Australia, and that's where I started my junior year. From August to November, I did a traditional study abroad at the University of Sydney. For me, it was technically fall semester, but in Australia it was spring, so I'm not entirely sure what to call this, but basically it was just August to November of 2019. While I was there, I got to travel all around the country, including the Outback, the Great Ocean Road, and all the way up the East Coast. I also got to go to New Zealand during the semester break. In December 2019, with my semester finished, I stopped for a week in Bali before making my way home for the holidays. After winter break, it was finally the spring semester of 2020. So I moved back up to Boston, and January and February were great, and I was really enjoying my classes and just getting back into all my clubs. At the end of February, we had our spring break, and I went home for a few days before I went to go visit my brother in Myrtle Beach. Spontaneously and somewhat expensively, we decided to go down to Disney for the weekend. After Disney, I flew back up to Boston and I got in a solid 3 days of classes before they made the switch to online classes. At first, the university said that we were allowed to stay in our housing, so I was planning on staying there. But then 2 days after they said we could stay in our housing, they said that we couldn't. So basically, we all got evicted on Saturday. So I ended up spending Saturday frantically packing up my apartment, and then I was out by Sunday morning. I made it home, and then I continued to take my classes through Zoom University, or just online classes, for the rest of the semester. Originally, I was planning to spend my summer studying abroad again in Japan, but unfortunately all study abroad was cancelled, which is definitely a reasonable precaution. So basically it just means now that I'm home for a few months. So where am I going with all of this? Long story short, I have collected a lot of footage and I have a lot of videos coming your way. So stay tuned and I'll see you next time. Bye!